r/AskReddit, what strange events have gotten swept under the rug like they didn't even happen? Starting last summer there have been unidentified snipers taking out random cars on different parts of I-10 in New Orleans and nothing has come of it and nobody's really talking about it. I mean, gang and drug violence, neighborhood drive-bys and the occasional bourbon shooting are one thing to ignore, but interstate snipers? Nobody finds that interesting? It's still happening. From the last time this was asked, Equifax lost the personal data of almost every single adult in the US. This is data we didn't give them permission to access, they simply automatically collect it. They are still in business. In September of 2017, Equifax announced a data breach that exposed the personal information of 147 million people. That's out of roughly 210 million adults at that time. That's 70% of the adult population whose data was lost. That's more than likely every single household in the US. On November 2nd, the FEC decided that foreign individuals, corporations, and governments can fund ballot measures in the US because they are not technically elections. This is a staggeringly big deal that was pretty much immediately swept under the rug. In my hometown there was some sort of audit and it found that $8 million of taxpayer money was missing. It's a conspiracy now. Edit, all the Reddit attention got me interested in this situation again. Here's a link. https://www.casewell.com/story/265389929/ Duncan audit finds millions in misspent funds /7 million spent on life insurance policies for employees. T.I. rapper and his wife have serially drugged and raped over 30 victims. According to 30+ allegations. If you Google T.I., it doesn't even come up unless you specifically search for it. The leader of Scientology's wife vanished after an argument in 2005, nobody knows what happened to her. In my hometown, the police chief was accused of having sexual relations with an underage girl. The father of the girl was one of the officers on the force. He was later found dead near the property of the chief. People believe he was there to confront the chief about the relations. 9/11 happened, and the attention of the public got focused on the nation's tragedy. He is now the mayor. The Metcalf sniper attack. Some unknown gunman utilizing military tactics attacked a California power substation under cover of night. The attack included cutting targeted telecommunication lines beforehand. As far as I've ever been able to tell, they never figured out who did it or why. Or they did make arrests and the media didn't bother to follow up. Ghislaine Maxwell knew many names, yet no one was publicly mentioned. Panama Papers. The wife of the Church of Scientology leader, David Miscavige, Shelley Miscavige, has not been seen in public since August 2007. She was reported as missing to the police at that time, but they said that she had been found and they closed the case. She has not been seen since. The Las Vegas shooting. The worst mass shooting in America's history. Dozens dead. Hundreds injured. No one has any idea why this random dude stockpiled weapons and went on a mass murder spree. Or why he ended when he did. We all just collectively went, I guess we'll never know, and then forgot about it. $128 billion went missing in my country. It is talked about for about 3 months here. Edit, it's Turkey. Beyoncé sang at a private concert for the Gaddafi family in 2008. The only reason why I know this is because it was a footnote in a sociology book about the power dynamics in government-neglected regions. The Phoenix Lights. My whole immediate family and tons of people on the street we lived on saw the aircraft come overhead. We all stood there speechless and terrified until it passed, then the whole block freaked out. Nobody will ever convince me it was flares. We all saw the outline and structure of the craft clearly. It was so big and slow, it was amazing it was staying in the air. My hair still stands on end even thinking about it right now. Several nuclear weapons the US dodged straight up lost. Congress being able to insider trade legally. Robinhood shutting off the buy button to stop GameStop's price from climbing. The mysterious circumstances surrounding the death of Casey Kasem, the original voice of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Edit. Did not expect this comment to blow up like this. Love the discussion this has generated. Quite a few people have pointed out that Casey Kasem was better known for his work in his radio Top 40, and later Top 20, countdown show. I omitted this because I didn't think it would be as relevant to international or younger readers, since Casey's last recording on that program was nearly 20 years ago, but if you are too young to remember hearing him on Sunday radio programs, please find them on YouTube, because they were a real treat. Identifying all the rich men who participated in Jeffrey Epstein's island. The anthrax attacks straight after September 11th. Seemingly unconnected and no one was ever charged, from memory. Largely forgotten. The Phoenix 2015 freeway shooter. The only suspect was clear and so far no updates. There were reports of copycats or perhaps paranoia, for example small rock hitting window and people mistaking it for a gunshot, in other states that year, but those two came and went. Kind of random, but last summer it got to be 50 degrees Celsius in Greater Vancouver, BC, highest recorded temperature in Canada ever, and the next day the city of Lytton burned down. It was a phenomenon called a heat dome. It was really scary because no one ever thought it could get that hot here, and a ton of people died because only about 60% of places have AC. It was one of the scariest things I've ever been through. No one talks about it at all anymore, and that is terrifying to me. Edit. I have been reminded numerous times that Lytton is not Greater Vancouver. Temps in Greater Van were measured in the mid-40s, but with humidity it felt more like 50. I stand corrected. Extreme weather nonetheless, especially as many places like kitchens and warehouses do not have AC and temps in those places skyrocketed. My townhouse in South Surrey measured in the upper 40s on the top floor. I also have had several people tell me that this is still discussed by people in their lives. I was just stating that I don't hear of it at all, personally. Second edit, there is literally a story about the heat dome / Lytton on Global News today. LOL. Man in gimp suit terrorizing villagers. He's back again. The financial panic of 2008 was triggered by a $550 billion drawdown of money market accounts in the USA about 11 a.m. on Thursday, Sept. 15, 2008. It was an electronic run on the banks. Had they not closed down the money market accounts immediately, the Treasury estimated that by 2 p.m. that afternoon, $5 trillion would have been withdrawn and the entire economy of the United States would have collapsed, and within 24 hours the world economy would have collapsed. Who did the initial $550 billion drawdown? This info was put in the memory hole, and the press does not discuss it. The Wikipedia article Global Financial Crisis in September 2008 has only the following sentence: by the morning of September 18, money market sell orders from institutional investors totaled $0. 5 trillion, out of a total market capitalization of $4 trillion, but a $105 billion liquidity injection from the Federal Reserve averted an immediate collapse. 2223. Here are the quoted sources. 22 Gray, Michael. Almost Armageddon, markets were 500 trades from a meltdown, September 21, 2008, New York Post. 23 House Representative Kanjorski about the $550 billion run on the banks in 2 hours during September, 2008. The floods on the east coast of Australia. Super recently, we experienced 1000 ml of rain in less than a day, whole towns have been wiped out, there are landslides and people are still missing. There are no supplies, no food, no fuel, no electricity, and no water. They are still finding bodies, and there are still people stranded on cliff faces and mountains that could collapse any minute. If you drive through Lismore NSW right now, everyone's belongings are all in piles larger than the houses on the street. There is sewage and toxic waste covering thousands of square meters. Civilians have had to rescue people from bridges, off roofs and off mountains, risking their lives while suffering their losses to save others that are in a worse position. Thousands of civilians have been donating their own money, time, and resources to help those in need. Our government has done nothing, and is shadow banning anyone speaking out on social media. The newspapers aren't covering it even though this is the worst natural disaster Australia has experienced in decades. Deaths are going unreported and the media is not covering anything. People have been screaming for the army and other qualified professionals to help. They have been begging to declare a state of emergency. It's taken 6 days for our Prime Minister to speak on this, and today he posted on Instagram some very staged images of the military helping. These photos show the army in clean clothes, pretending to do tasks and pretending to help. The army was literally instructed to go down there, get some pictures and leave. People literally have been taking photos of them getting photos done with ring lights and other professional lighting equipment. When civilians asked for their help they said that's not our duty and went back to scrolling on their phones. It's a disgusting response from our government, and probably the most blatant sweep under the rug I've ever seen. Karl Malone. Decorated basketball player. Raped a 13-year-old girl, disowned a child. Impregnated a 17-year-old girl, disowned the twins. Sexually and racially harassed Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's wife. Utah Jazz builds a statue celebrating and commemorating him. https://www.thedailybeast.com/NBA legend Karl Malone's disturbing rape and harassment past. Boris Johnson lockdown parties. He was on the verge of being forced out of office and then, oh there's a war now we've got other stuff to worry about. Guards in a prison melted a mentally disabled prisoner's skin off with hot water. Darren Rainey. Ghislaine Maxwell's trial where she got convicted of selling children to nobody. The metric shit ton of COVID relief money that was given to companies, that was misappropriated and will never be paid back, and is only marginally being analyzed/investigated. So it's all on the US taxpayers. Nobody seemed to remember Ukrainian passenger flight being shot down by Iranian government last year. Kellyanne Conway published nude pictures of her underage daughter as a form of punishment, aka distribution of child pornography. Random scary clowns in like 2016. The Apollo 10 turd. It's been half a century and nobody has owned up to the floating turd on Apollo 10. Donald Rumsfeld announcing that the Pentagon had lost $2.3 trillion, the night before September 11th. The fire at the JFK Museum Records Wing during the Boston bombings. Anyone remember the rumors of Kim Jong-un being ill? There's a mysterious neurodegenerative disorder identified in 2019 that is only found within New Brunswick. It has symptoms similar to Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, or mad cow disease, but it isn't caused by prions. They have no idea what causes it. So far, almost 50 people have the disease and 6 have died. The youngest affected was only 18. The provincial government is pushing back on research efforts and transparency, and have essentially cut aid from federal and international investigation efforts. Since then, they've started discrediting patients and their families. It's a really puzzling and worrisome situation. Here are some more resources. https://en. Wikipedia. org/wiki/new_brunswick_neurological_syndrome_of_unknown_cause. https://atlantic news ca/@sa ticking clock. Mysterious neurological disease patients are calling on the government for transparency. 1-563-9727 https://nationalpost.com/news/Canada/New Brunswick expert report on mystery brain disorder to be released today. https://www.gnb ca/content/gnb/n/departments/health/neurocluster. HTML. Personally, I think the Irving oligarchs who own this province have something to do with it. Who knows? Scary times in the Maritimes. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed this video and subscribe to never miss an upload.